Hello everyone, Jessica Smith here. Well guys, the votes are in, and today, this episode of Ultra-rant Fest is dedicated to one of my many favorite things, Grimm Fairytales. Since the dawn of time, we as a human race have had stories, and as young children we can often slightly recall fairy tales being read to us and reading them ourselves, of damsels in distress, fire-breathing dragons, and heroic knights. As the intro from Jim Henson's The Storyteller says, and I quote, when people told themselves their past with stories, explained their presents with stories, foretold the future with stories, the best place by the fire was kept for the storyteller. Now, it's fairly safe to say that all of us, at one point in our lives, have seen some of the classic animated Disney films, like Cinderella, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, Beauty and the Beast, The Little Mermaid, and so on and so forth. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with these films, except they are not the original fairy tales. You see, back in the 19th century, the Brothers Grimm collected and wrote down a copious amount of fairy tales, except for The Little Mermaid. That one was written by a fellow by the name of Hans Christian Andersen, and I may do a video on him later. However, this is not that video. This video is dedicated to the Grimm Fairy Tales, as I said before. Personally, I absolutely love the Grimm Fairy Tales. They're both classic and creative, and on top of that, they're a source of inspiration and influence for creative writers such as myself. And I will be completely honest when I say this, is that I suffer from writer's block a lot. And I really, really, really hate it. Like, it gets to the point where I just want to slam my head against the wall until the inspiration comes back. However, thanks to the Grimm Fairy Tales and other books in general, I do not have to do this. All I have to do is simply crack open the Grimm Fairy Tales or any book in general and read until the inspiration comes back for me. And it's that simple. Another thing that I like about Grimm Fairy Tales is that it possesses the key that is found in the fantasy genre more often than not: magic. What makes the impossible possible? The sky is the limit for this, and there are so many ways that it can be used and applied to a creative fantasy story. And if you are a creative writer and you have a case of writer's block, I highly recommend that you read the Grimm Fairy Tales. They write magic in such a unique way that it is very inspiring for me. And there are ways that you can apply it to your own story. Speaking of which, I would like to give a brief shout out to Mr. Adam Gidwitz and his trilogy, known as A Tale Dark and Grim, In a Glass Grimly, and A Grim Conclusion. The way he portrays these grim fairy tales is absolutely fantastic. I own the trilogy myself, and I absolutely love them. Books 1, 2, and 3, I like all of them. They're my favorites. Every book is different, but it still has the grim to it. And I have to say, my favorite characters are all of them, including the three ravens. Now, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but let's just say they're dark, they're grim, they're bloody, and they're awesome. And I highly recommend, for those who are really big Grimm Fairy Tales fans and fantasy lovers in general, like I am, I highly recommend you give them a read. You can find them on Amazon, your local library, or you can find them online, I bet. Now, I know for certain that you can definitely find Grimm Fairy Tales online, or you can find them in your local library, or you can buy them yourself off Amazon. I have quite a few copies of Grimm Fairy Tales, one being a complete series, and one of them having 110. And honestly, I'm fine with this. You can never have too many copies of Grimm Fairy Tales, in my opinion. But yes, I absolutely love Grimm Fairy Tales and I highly recommend them. Now, I can't say the same for everyone. You guys may not like them, and that's just fine. I'm not going to force my opinion on you. I'm just making a suggestion to you and everyone who wants a good read. I think they're amazing, but if you don't like them, if you think they're about as entertaining as Styrofoam on Toast, then hey, that's fine. It's your opinion, and I'm not going to force my opinion on you. But yeah, I honestly love Grimm Fairy Tales, and I think everyone, at least one, should give them a read. But hey, it's up to you. That's why we have a choice in life. I Honestly, could go on and on about Grimm Fairy Tales on this video forever and ever. However, I do not have unlimited time on my hands, so yeah. Grimm Fairy Tales. They are the ancestors of the modern fairy tales that we know today, and while they are dark and terrifying, they are beautiful in every sense of the word. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you guys. Rate, comment, and subscribe, please. Your likes and comments always bring a smile to my face. If you have any requests, just type them up in the comments below, and I'll try and get to them as soon as I can. So, yeah. Hasta la pasta, everyone. Mwah! I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one.